out, Jim. Hey, Gumbold. Hey, Hyperion. It's going to be a fun one today. Good morning. Yep, sound good on my end. Awesome. Have you got a morning coffee? Good to go. If you drink coffee, that is. Nice. So we'll get a cam on in a minute and be like, whoa, what's going on? That's all good. We got Team Worldwide, right? It is really cool how Sky Mavis and Axie has been built like that. Like there's someone working at all times of the day, literally, because everyone's across the globe. So super cool. Mhm. Yeah, no, I think I definitely benefit being in Europe because I get that sweet spot, you know. So I'm not complaining. Awesome.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, dude. We are, yeah, we, the people here in Vietnam, we are getting the worst end of the stick whenever we do things like this. It's like 8 p.m. right now. That should be okay, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll
UK,
just
yeah.
stop complaining
Europe
then.
is the Europe is like the union of the best, like the Southeast Asia.
Oh, it's so bad. It's like 2 p.m. You know, I've just had lunch. I'm halfway through the day. I appreciate you both. So awesome. Yeah, Jim, everyone coming into chat. Yeah, this is
What time
kind of
is it for you? Okay.
for me.
No, for Shade. What time is it now? Ah, dude. I've been in meetings with this guy like 12 hours ago or something.
Yeah, like we literally just talked like a
Yeah,
few hours ago.
I'm ready to pass out, bro. Yeah, dude, you should get back to sleep too.
I'll go back to sleep after this. Actually, I can't. I gotta take my kids to school after this. Yo, Trevor, if you're in SF this week, maybe we can meet up.
Yo,
Everyone
Jack is
knows if you meet
here.
up, you get leaks.
Some of our teammates are here. Jack is here, so Jeff, if Shade will discuss codex, and if something is wrong with the codex, that's Jack's fault.
Jack's here. Okay, cool. Yeah. I asked him to be
Yeah.
here just in case I need anything.
And Cruz is here.
That's right. Cruz is here. If you guys remember Cruz, he was working on Origins a few years ago.
Yeah, he was the one who didn't want the nerf sustains.
Get 'em up.
Is that a joke or is that true?
Baby, have a nap. I'm just kidding, dude.
Okay.
Awesome. But yeah, no, yeah, thanks everyone for joining. We're going to be doing these new kind of AMA, and it's going to be like very casual, very relaxed, and like real, just like genuine and open. So today we're going to like jump in with like Shade going over like the codex, what it is, but also like this is a forum for you to ask essentially any questions related to kind of Axie core. Mega relaxed, mega casual. We want this to be very like back and forth with you in the community. And yeah, ET test is working. But yeah, so essentially any questions, feel free to pop them in chat. We can stop the conversation halfway through and address some stuff. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you everyone for coming today. And thank you, Shade Pos and Jatster for hopping up with me. So I'm not solo. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we'll, keep it pretty casual, right? We might have some slides. We might show some stuff, but I think the goal with this was to be, more a little bit more personal with the community, interact a little bit more with chat, and so if you're expecting a town hall, where we go through a list of things, this is not going to be that. Yeah, so hoping to keep it a little bit more casual.
I think we're just publicly broadcasting what we've been doing in HQ, right, Shade? So whenever Shade is in HQ, we just sometimes just sit down for hours and talk about Axie. So this is like a public broadcast of that.
Yeah, dude, we've been talking about this for years, right? For years, we've been every time like we meet up, in Vietnam and at HQ, we're like, dude, we have hours and hours of conversations, and every time we're like, dude, what if we just did this in front of, an audience and let people listen to what we're talking about, right? Because we talk about awesome things, we talk about things we're working on, cool ideas for the future, and I think that would just be so interesting for people to listen to.
Agreed, man. And I think we need to find a better name for this, podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually
Axie
awesome,
AMA,
man.
that doesn't really, that doesn't
Yeah,
really
it's
ring.
not it. Not it.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like a traditional game dev fireside where it's just essentially anything goes and you're just talking about what's going on behind the scenes and even like crazy ideas, right? But like, right, this is not going to be like we haven't talked about this any further detail, but if something like pops up, we can probably dive into it. So yeah, not an AMA, more we think of something.
Yeah,
Maybe the chat can help.
yeah. If something pops up, we might talk about it. I don't even know anymore what is secret or what it's not, so I might accidentally leak some stuff that I shouldn't. Um, but yeah, we'll see where this goes.
Nice. I like it. We're starting to get a few people pop in chat about questions. So, should we just go straight into the questions? And then if the questions are more like specific, maybe we can just get you to do like a little kind of overview on the codex to get everyone up to speed. Because there's some cool updates. Cool. So Ken's Sensei is asking about the codex orb and an accessory. Tabiska is the reward system merge for seasonal and premium bounty boards. Yeah, so it's probably best because you just do like a quick overview, like what is the codex, and then we can dive into kind of the reward structure and the thoughts behind it, and then really dive into the questions of the community.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Do we need a visual? Should I share my screen? What do you think?
Yeah, let's just do it. If not, I'll put my cam on and then I'll just stare at everyone. So I'd rather have something to look at.
Okay, let me try this. I'm going to share the testnet version of this. If Jack is here and he thinks that there's something on the testnet version I should not share, say so now, Jack. Okay, here we go.
He's not here. Maybe he's playing Uma Musume again.
Jack is like so nervous. All right. You guys see that? That looks good, guys.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, this is a new feature that we're calling the Codex. And basically, the Codex is it's what we call, our battle pass system, our sort of global battle pass system that we've been working on that is going to be layered on top of the bounty board and app.axie, right? And the idea is to create this this really cool reward system that we can experiment with for giving out and trying out new types of rewards, right? And it should be integrated into everything, right? Everything, since it's plugged directly into the bounty board. The bounty board's not going away, right? The premier bounty board as we know it today is not going away. We already announced that the standard bounty board is going to be going away with this. But but this will be layered on top of the bounty board and app.axie, and everything would be, since everything is plugged into the bounty board already, this will naturally be sort of a global, all of Axie battle pass, right? And as you can see here, it's just like a standard battle pass that you're familiar with in other games. And with this, you purchase it for a certain amount of AXS. I think it's 7.5 AXS. And through this, you unlock rewards, right, as you level it up. And the way that you level it up is, the same way that you're familiar with already is completing bounties. So you can participate. So you don't have to buy the codex, right? Anyone can continue doing their daily PvB quests, and the reward pool for the PvB is not changing, right? There's still AXS in the Premier pool. There's still leaderboard rewards on the bounty board. There's still Master Quest AXS. All of that is still accessible, right? Without purchasing the codex. Now, when you do purchase the codex, as you complete quests, as you can see here, there's like a new icon here, right? These are codex points. It's separate from bounty board points, right? So bounty board points goes towards your bounty board score, your weekly bounty board total, just like normal, right? And your bounty board points determines your leaderboard placement, but your codex points goes towards your codex if you have purchased it, right? Well, it goes towards your codex even if you haven't purchased it, right? Just like a standard, Web 2 battle pass. There's like a free tier that also levels up as you go. But if you haven't purchased the battle pass, then you won't get these rewards in the top row right here, right? Yeah. So that's kind of a general overview. Obviously, I know a lot of people have a ton of questions, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, and people are starting to call out as well. So like Cafe NFTs was saying like freemium and premium. Yeah, so like essentially very, very similar to traditional battle passes with reward structures. There's some really, really cool ones integrated. We'll jump into some questions. There's a lot, so bear with me. I'm going to tick them off as we go through to make sure everyone's covered.
I think we can start with the most glaring questions, right? Like, what's gonna happen to the slip shade? That's the questions on. Those are the comments on
Yeah. So nothing is happening with slips, right? Slips are still important. Why are they important? Because like you need them to reroll quests, right? And so in the same way that you use slips to reroll quests in the past, you'll do that now, right? And like so it doesn't really change, right? Slips still have really important utility in rerolling quests and getting the quests that you want. Not only getting the quests that have the most points, right? Like here in this example right here, I got an Origins quest, right? I think everyone loves this when they see this quest. It's also a master quest, but this quest here gives me 200 codex points, right? Which is really good, right? This advanced quest gives me 120 codex points. And as you can see here, to get to level 1, I'm at level 0 right now. Like it takes 500 codex points, right? So slips are still important if you want to, maximize how many codex points that you'll be getting, right? And now, like the bounty board, you don't have to re-roll if you don't want to, or if you don't have enough slips, right? You just do the quests that you have, and as you do it, you'll level up your codex, whether it's really fast or really slow. That's dependent on the quest that you complete. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of questions about slips. Hopefully that provides a bit more overview. People are asking about like the supply and like 15% increase inflation. So could you go a little bit into detail about the design behind that and the codex itself?
Yeah. So yeah, before we jump into that, let's talk about the rewards real quick, because there some people might not be familiar with what they're talking about. So when you purchase the codex, these are the rewards that you'll have access to, right? And so let's talk a little bit about some of these. So first there's AXS, right? You'll see here there's a bunch of AXS at certain levels, and the idea is that you pay 7.5 AXS to access the premium codex, and if you get up to let's see, what is this, level 24, I think you get back 6 or 6.5 AXS, right? So it's not 100%, right? But it's pretty good, and this is just how we've designed this season 0. It might not be like this in the future. It might be more, it might be less. We don't quite know yet. But the idea is you purchase the codex, but you'll get some. You purchase the codex for some AXS, but you'll get some back, right? And some other things here are you'll see that in the freemium tier there's bounty board points, right? So this is 500 bounty board points, and what is that? It's just your bounty board points here that go towards that weekly total, right? So whatever week you claim it on, whatever day you claim it on, it'll go towards that week's leaderboard, right? And remember, the codex lasts many weeks. It'll last like 8 weeks, right? So when you claim this, that's the week that it'll go towards, right? So there might be a little bit of strategy about when you claim these bounty board points in the free tier, like if you're doing really well that week, maybe that's the week you want to, like claim it, right? So that it'll give you a small little boost, right? Yeah. Other things here are accessories that obviously, there's 4 accessories that you can get. The one at level 5, level 10, 25, and then level 30. The first one here is the Blossom Pot. We've got the Festival Crackers, which is a flying one. This is my favorite one, the Atia effigy. It's a little flying Atia statue. And then there's this one here, the Fossil Guard. It's a really cool thing. This one, yeah. And then some other things here are these coins, lucky coins. So you'll see that early on you'll get some lucky coins. It's kind of scattered throughout. There's a few here. Each level there's like a different thing that you unlock. And then towards the end of the codex there's like a whole bunch, right? And what these lucky coins are once you've collected 4, you can roll a different accessory here in the Ascendant Wellspring. So we have this gacha machine that is specific to this season's codex. Now this will change every season. In future seasons there will be different accessories. It might even not be a gacha machine. It might be a separate thing, right? But for season 0, once you've got 4, you can do 1 spin, right? And with that spin, there's 4 other accessories that you can get that will never release in any other way, right? So and they're limited, right? Like there's this cool UFO one that's like a flying UFO, and then some other cool ones here. But yeah, that'll be if you want to get these, that's the only way to get them is to roll the Ascendant Wellspring. And then finally, right, sorry, going back to the question, is the 15% AXP, and then also the 15% fortune slips. So these are perks, right? Just like regular standard, Web 2 battle passes, it unlocks perks via, in the game, right? And so this is something very new that we're trying, is like, can we give bonuses in gameplay, and in Axie Core and app.axie as rewards through the codex, right? And so one of them is plus 15 AXP whenever you use Coco. So whenever you use Coco, it'll be a little bit more XP. And then there's this one here, 15% more fortune slips. So anytime you claim whatever, if you get 100 fortune slips a day, you'll get 115 fortune slips a day. And I think the question is how. Sorry, what was the specific question about this?
Yeah, no, I think you've kind of answered it. It was essentially increasing the supply per day people can get, due to obviously the changes when it comes to seasonal and premium bounty boards and the codex. I think you did a pretty good job on covering it. If there isn't or if people have got more questions, pop them in chat. We can dive a little deeper.
Yeah. I think the obvious question here is obviously that's going to increase the supply, of slips. And I think I saw somebody ask if there's any new sinks for slips. Uh,
It's sorry, I was just reading it as well. So it's more that there's a increase in slips coming in, which means there's going to be more chocos on market. This is coming from Snoopy. So they're asking, is there any more burn elements to stop that extra inflation coming into the market?
Oh, right. No, not now. Not on this release. There are no new Fortress Slip burns, but obviously this is something we're going to keep a really close eye on, right? It affects the economy. It's part of the Axie core economy, so we're going to keep a really close eye on it. And if we need to, put in some new sinks, there's been a lot that we've been thinking about, or if we need to, make some adjustments on the fly, we can do that. And one big reason why we're calling this season 0 and not season 1 is because it's a season 0, right? It's sort of a really big test to test out the progression of the codex, the reward pacing, the perks, it's how it integrates into the bounty board, and all these things, right? So this whole season will sort of be a really huge, testing bed for season 1, right? And we'll use all our learnings and all our metrics and all the data that we get and all the feedback that we get, and we'll apply it to season 1. I expect season 1 to look very different, right? Not only in the pacing and the rewards, but there could be crazy new features, right? And we're hoping that the community helps guide us towards that, and it gives a lot of great feedback and to make season 1 great.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, now I'm just reading chat. 8 weeks. Thank you everyone for helping.
That's right, 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and remember, I want to make it clear that the season will last 8 weeks. Season 0 will last 8 weeks. But the regular Premier Bounty Board weekly, things are not going away, right? The weekly leaderboard for the bounty board is still there, right? So one season of the Codex lasts 8 bounty board weeks.
Nice. Yeah, so it's in addition to, essentially, so it's more. Awesome.
People are saying 7.5 AXS is too low.
Too cheap. Yeah. Jack, it's all your fault.
That's good. That is good feedback, right? But we'll go with 7.5 for this because we want a lot of people to try this out, right? And so if it's too low, that's great, right? And if you can get to level 24 on the Codex, you'll get like 6 of those back, right? So, and if you get to level 30, you'll get a whole bunch of accessories.
Okay.
That's always...
So I'm gonna put on my community, community hat, right? So Shade, we're gonna mint a lot of accessories again. So in my head, why are we minting more, and will they have utilities, right, in the future? And after
yeah. I mean, we went years without new accessories, right? So I feel like remember when we released accessories in 2022, right? It was cool, it was new, and it was exciting, and people were, blinging out their Axies, and then we just didn't do it anymore for a long time, right? And it was for a lot of reasons, right? We had other priorities. It's just an insane amount of work to add new accessories, right? But this year we've gotten really good at it. We've honed down the process, and we're able to release a lot of accessories. And I personally feel like we have some, time to make up for. There were so many years where we didn't have a lot of accessories, and that's why I feel like, we got to release a little bit more this year. It might not be like this going forward, right? We've got, 8 accessories here with this. We just had some nightmare accessories, right? We've got some more coming up this year. And like, the vision for accessories was that we wanted a way for people to personalize their Axies, right? Back in 2022 when these accessories came out, a lot of Axies look the same, right? Because everyone was playing Origins, and in Origins, like, the top 100 Axies were all the same because you wanted an Axie that was like very meta, right? And now some people had favorite Axies that were collectibles and things like that, right? But it was very possible that your favorite Axie looked the same as someone else's favorite Axie, and to add a little bit more variance, that's what accessories were for, right? I could put on my favorite accessories. But then we didn't release a lot of accessories, and then my Axie still looked like your Axie because we had the same accessories, right? And so with more variance, with more accessories, gives you more variance. And so everyone can make their Axies look a little bit more unique and more them, right? And just like having a wide range of accessories, right? Cute ones, scary ones, regular ones, and things like that, right? But yeah, and so for accessories, and the utility of it, like, I would love the direction I would like accessories to go, and obviously this is a conversation that's like we're having now internally, right? Is accessories having utility in a Tia's legacy, right? I think that is a great direction to go in, but obviously those conversations are happening now as we build out a Tia's legacy. But I think that could be a really cool direction to take it in. I think Cruz is in the chat right now. He works on his legacy, so I have talked to him about this. Yeah, and outside of that, we've got the cosmetic part of accessories. That's obviously very important, but also there's also possibility for accessories having utility within Axie Core as well, right? We've got some cool stuff coming up for Axie Core, and accessories can give utility for those things as well. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we're not like back when we released accessories, we always said, yeah, they'll just be cosmetic, right? It'll look cool in games. Now I'm saying there's a possibility that they have some utility. Yeah, utility gang. I'm all about that utility.
Oh yeah, Axie Quest has utilities for accessories. Shout out to Axie Quest, by the way.
Yeah, actually, Axie Quest. Yeah, Kev in the chat. Axie
Yeah.
Quest was the first to give accessories utility. I remember that being really excited about that when that came out. But yeah, if people haven't heard, Axie Quest has quests in the bounty board, and this is the first time where we integrated a third-party Axie game into our bounty board, right? And I'm really glad that it was Axie Quest because they've been building, this whole time. Yeah. What else? What are some questions in chat?
ET's ping one, which is popping up a bit, which is what is the codex orb? Is it an accessory?
Oh yeah. That's a good question. Okay. Let's sort of okay, let's before we get to that, let's go down these rewards a little bit more because there's some context here. So once you get to level 30, that is where we're considering the codex complete. Okay. So for the sake of like completion, like for example, when we do like a badge, right? Like an app.axie badge, like finish season 0 of the codex, right? That'll mean level 30, right? So we have a little message here that says the codex season 0 ascendant path ends here. Keep playing to earn additional rewards, right? It ends here. It means done, right? This is the official done point, is level 30. but you can keep playing. But the only thing you'll get are lucky coins. So if you really want to maximize your spins in the wellspring and try to get all 4 of these accessories, right? Like the odds are different here, right? The UFO, there's only 2,000 here, and if you really want to try to get that, you'll need a few spins, right? If you really want to get that, you'll have to continue past level 30, right? So outside of that, you'll only get 3 spins, right? So 4 here, 4 coins here, 4 coins here, 4 coins here. That's only 3 spins before you get to level 30. After that, you'll get a couple more spins. But yeah, the coins are the only things that you can get after level 30, and it goes to level 50. Now, once you get to level 50, there is this Codex Orb Season 0 thing, and this just means so the question is, what is that, right? What is that for? It doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't do anything now. It might do something in the future, but right now it's more of a badge of honor. It's like, yeah, I got to level 50, I finished all this, and here's this orb, right? And yeah, this orb will be on the marketplace. It'll be tradable on the marketplace. It doesn't have anything now, but it's possible that it could have some utility in the future. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, perfect. Discord role when? People want to flex, People want to flex. Well, if they've got it, then that's a way we can trace that. So, professional receptionist screenshots. Yeah, so we've got some absolute snipers in the community. Like, if you hover your mouse over anything, people will see it. So, it's fun. Do you know what I mean? We're giving it away live. So,
wow.
Awesome.
Okay. Nice screenshot, Sensei. That was like literally half a second.
Yeah, that was impressive. So I'm just going back up to question.
Okay, I have a question again, Shade. So, what if most of my Axies, right? What if most of my Axies are at level 60? So there's no new cap and no new utility for high level Axies. Why should I also care about the AXP buff? Or do you guys have plans on post level 60 Axies?
Yeah. Obviously, that's not the end for Axies, right? Yeah, obviously level 60 is not the end for Axies, but there's a lot of things to consider before we raise the cap, I don't want to just like raise the cap willy-nilly and then realize later that that was the wrong thing to do, right? There's a lot of different ways that we can go with like continuing progression for Axies, right? One of them is to simply raise the cap to level 120, that opens the door for 6 more evolutions, and that makes sense because one day we want to have stage 3 parts, right? But we have to consider getting from level 60 to 70, like the amount of AXP needed increases, right, as it goes. And so from level 60 to 70, it could potentially be just like way too much AXP to level up, right? Like to a point where it's way too hard to like level up to ascend again so that you can get a stage 3 evolution, right? And so some ideas that we were considering is, what if we do the prestige method, like in Call of Duty, you get to level 100 or whatever, and then you start again at level 1, right? But then there's like some icon that marks that you've prestiged, that you've done the whole cycle, right? So that's one potential path. Another potential path is like, another thing to consider is like, we've had lore leaks where Axies evolve their body, right? And they stand up, and so that's also another angle that we have to consider is like, when do we want that to happen, and how will that play into levels and AXP, right, and parts. But yeah, I would say that obviously we want to do stage 3 parts, right? And when that happens, that is when we'll tackle the level 60 cap solution, right? Now, in the meantime, there are ways to alleviate that, right? The leading my favorite idea right now is to have some way to have AXP share, right? So a level 60 Axie who is, who somebody has spent so long leveling up, evolving, right? They theoretically should be stronger, right? And so if they're stronger, they can earn more XP, but that XP goes nowhere. So if we just give that XP a place to go, whether it's like a bottle where you can store it up and use it on another Axie, or maybe it's like some AXP share Pokemon mechanic where you attach an accessory on an Axie and it goes to another Axie, right? That was one of the accessory utilities that I thought of is like, you know, you just have an accessory where it like links to another accessory, and if you have it equipped, it shares the XP. Like that's one cool idea. But yeah, those are some thoughts.
Awesome. I'm just reading at the chat here. So they found the AXP sharing cool.
Yeah, I think doing it with an accessory is a really cool idea. Um, maybe it's an accessory you craft. Maybe it uses some cool materials, and when you do so, it gives you two accessories, right? And they're paired together, they're linked together, and the two axes that you connect it with, they share AXP maybe. How does it work in Pokemon? In Pokemon, it's like an item that you hold or something, right? And it's like splits it up against all your Pokemon.
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah, there's other games that do that, which is like a shared XP system, depending on what you've got equipped in your squad. So, like, if someone's already at max level, then you can carry that into something else. So,
Also, what do you think, Shade, about the idea of like risk to earn meta, right? I think we talked about this, right? What do you think is the risk to earn version for Axie? Because I saw
Um,
something here in chat. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, risk comes at different levels, right? Like you could even say the codex in a way is risk to earn, right? Because you're risking 7.5 AXS to potentially get varying rewards, right? Based on how well you do on the bounty board, right? So that's risk in a way, right? It might not be obviously very risky, You might not you most likely won't lose everything, right? But that's a level of risk to earn, right? More obvious risk to earn models are like kind of like the Cambria model, right? And when we talk about Axie Infinity, like the oldest idea of risk to earn has always been some mechanic where you can lose your Axie, right? Or your Axie is burned, right? Like you send your Axie on an adventure to war or something, and maybe it doesn't come back. Maybe it just dies and it's gone forever, right? And but yeah, like I think those are mechanics that we absolutely are exploring right now in both Axie Core and Atia's Legacy. But yeah, I personally like it. I'm a degen, so I like risking assets. So I want more of that.
Yeah, I really love the idea of Axies like getting burned on chain, or like collectible Axies not getting burned, maybe just faints, right? And the length of the feint depends on the rarity of the collectible Axies, something like that. It could work.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me answer this. So there are a lot of questions like, can we get the elephant in the room out real quick? Will Origins get some love in the near future? So what's happening right now is we're focusing. I feel like everybody knows this, right? So we are putting 100% of our focus on the TS Legacy and the Axie Core, right? So if there will be some changes in Origins and Classic, there will be just the reward system and maybe a little balancing here and there. But if you guys are expecting like new features, yeah, I saw a screenshot like what's gonna happen on this coming soon. Honestly, right now nothing's gonna happen to that. So yeah, we're focusing on Ideas Legacy. If there will be changes, there will be like rewards, restructuring. we're experimenting with different reward systems. So yeah, that's the answer to the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, the future is Atia's legacy.
And yeah, we will also have like a similar like monthly or bi-weekly um, AMA with Cruz. So Shade revealed earlier, right? So he's the one leading Etiquette's legacy. So he will be here. We will be, we are community first Sky Mavis team members. So we will be talking to you guys. Similar to how, Shade discussed season zero of Codex, right? So this might not be perfect. That's why it's season zero, right? We want to gather your thoughts, collect data, and adjust for season one, right? So yeah, so keep sharing your feedback. Our team will look into it.
Yeah, nice. I've got a few questions I can jump in. Ken Sensei is asking, could you explain the tokenomics behind the codex? Like, why are these rewards essentially, and where are the AXS fees going towards? So they can get a bit more understanding of more about the tokenomics reward structure and what we're doing with the funds essentially.
Yeah. That's a good question. So the so basically, this might change in a future season, by the way, but this is the way that we're doing it now. The way that we're doing it now is we're using the entry fees, right, the 6.5, to sort of subsidize the rewards, right? And it doesn't cover all of it, right? Because if literally everybody who buys it completes the codex, we'll give out more AXS than we brought in, right? But yeah, those funds will be coming from the Play to Earn fund. So the Play to Earn fund will pay out the rewards, but your entry fee of 6.5 sort of subsidizes that reward, right? So it dampens the impact on the Play to Earn fund. But obviously, as you complete and level up this codex, you're completing bounty board quests, right? And those bounty board quests sometimes require AXS, right? And all that goes to the treasury, right? All that still goes to the treasury. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, Ken Sensei doesn't get the math, but yeah, we can cover that with the when it releases on Monday. You can see when you're getting those AXS back at certain milestones. But yeah, so 6.5 is reduced back. Awesome. There's some interesting spin-offs coming, Pos, from your question about risk to earn, which is like degrading parts of your Axie if you lose things, which is kind of a little deep into. I suppose that is touched on Axie Core if that's integrated across different experiences in Axie. But that's a really interesting point to discuss. What are your thoughts on that about degrading Axie levels and kind of the strength of your Axie if you do something wrong or lose or risk essentially?
This is just a general Axie Core question, right?
Yeah. This isn't like a specific game. This is just like what are your thoughts on it essentially?
Like I guess undoing like your decisions and like going backwards, right?
Yeah, I guess like it's easy to understand it in a game context because it's like you die, so your game in or you lose your loot. You know what I mean? But for Axie Core, I wonder what that would look like. What are your thoughts on regression? So not like choosing to undo your mistake, but risking something, losing, and then losing something you've already collected or added or an accessory. Or what are your thoughts on that type of risk to earn?
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Right. I think there are some like we've been a feature that I've been wanting to do for so long is like just send your Axie on an adventure, and it may or may not come back with rewards. Right. You may have lost. You may lose the Axie. You may lose some assets or whatever. but and then putting like some cool lore narrative around that, some additional fun mechanics around that, has always been a thing that I've been wanting to do. And I think it would work really good with Axies, right? Obviously, like a lot of different Web3 games have that mechanic. I think like CyberKongz has adventures. Other games have adventures and stuff. But I feel like it would fit really, really well with Axie, and it would be a really easy way for us to sort of test that risk to earn mechanic. But yeah, like you said, it's hard to think about this in the context of Axie Core as opposed to like a video game, right? In a video game, like you lose health or you die, you faint, you start from the beginning, right? And in in Axie Core, we actually have a mechanic for regression, and it's when you forge, and when you forge, your Axie goes into some cooldown, right? And that cooldown, that like it's kind of like fainting, right? It can't forge anymore after you forge, and based on your Axie's collectible level or rarity, that cooldown is different. Like a Mystic Axie has like a 4-hour cooldown or something, right? So after they forge, they can forge again in 4 hours. A regular non-collectible Axie has like a cooldown of like days or something, and I actually want to lean into that a little bit more, right? With things outside of forging, like the adventure mode that I was talking about, right? Imagine setting your Axie on an adventure, and it comes back and it failed, or maybe it succeeded, but it goes into cooldown, and so you can't do it again for X amount of time, right? And that cooldown is shared with all the different mechanics like forging.
Yeah, I like that. It's also like makes your decision about like pacing then, if you've got that cooldown in effect. Obviously, some players will just want to continually do it, so there'd probably be an option there. But for everybody else, it kind of linked it to one of the questions. Sorry, let me just real quick find it. It was a really interesting one about essentially the premium. I think it's the premium bounty board is essentially a 4-week commitment, and this has come from Chico, and they're asking, is there a way, or just to even ideate about selecting like your best 5 days out of 7 instead of like every single day doing something for obviously IRL commitment issues for people?
Are we talking about the codex or the bounty board?
The premium bounty board. Sorry, yeah, I just jumped between topics there. So.
Oh, interesting. That's a cool idea. I think that's a cool idea. Yeah, like, but I mean, yeah, you have to right now. You have to play all 7 days if you want to remotely get anywhere near the top of the leaderboard, right? Which gives you bonus rewards, right? And if you don't, you'll still get rewards, because as long as you have bounty board points, you get some AXS rewards at the end of the week, right? There's 3 ways to get AXS rewards on the bounty board. One is through placing on the leaderboard bonus. One is the actual, regular share of AXS pool at the end based on how many points you have. And then the other is through master quests. So there are a few different ways, right? But I do like that idea of choosing 5 out of like maybe your 5 best days or something, right? There's a few things to work out if we want that to work, but that's a cool idea.
Cool. Sorry, yeah, I'm just reading the chat now. So I go super quiet and I'm like, right, let's read over a couple of these questions, see if we've covered them already, because then we can play through the stream.
This chat is live. This is really cool to see everybody here.
Pop in. Yeah, thank you everyone as well. It's like, 115 people. I know I'll speak for all of us. We hope this style of format is really useful for you. Like, we want to try and be very, very like community face building and answer these questions. And essentially, it'll like, I personally believe doing things like this will allow us to build like better systems and products and games and enhance Axie Core, because it's like collaborative. So I hope people find it useful too. I just like doing it.
Yeah, I see a lot of people asking about the premier tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those will not carry over, unfortunately. Yeah, they won't have a use, because we're opening the bounty board to everybody. right? So before, well, right now, right, you got the standard bounty board, and you played the standard bounty board to get access to the premier bounty board, right? But now without this, since we're removing the standard bounty board, that's going away. Um, the bounty board, the premier bounty board, will be accessible to everyone else. And before, the premier bounty board was the premier experience, right? But now when the codex releases, the premier bounty board is open to everyone, so everyone can play it. The new premier experience is the codex, essentially. Yeah. So in that model, the tickets won't have any use.
Yeah, okay. I think there's a little confusion from that. Not from you, just from essentially the both styles of bounty boards and the codex. Could you give me like a 1 minute, just so essentially I'm going to clip this afterwards. So could you give me a 1 minute overview on seasonal bounty board, premium bounty board, and the codex, and what's happening going forward? Then I can get everyone up to speed, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So next week we'll be releasing a new feature called the Codex, and the Codex is essentially an awesome battle pass that is integrated directly into the bounty board and Axie Core and app.axie, right? When that happens, we'll be getting rid of the standard bounty board. The standard bounty board has been here for years. It's been a really cool way to engage, the community, to do on-chain transactions and, DAU and stuff, push those metrics. But, times have changed, and, the standard bounty board doesn't align with our vision anymore, right? So we're getting rid of that, and in replace of that is the codex, right? And so you'll pay 7.5 AXS to get access to the codex. You'll unlock a bunch of different rewards, hopefully get some AXS back, some accessories, and have a ton of fun. And the Premier Binder Board will still be there. You'll still be able to participate in the weekly bounty board, get weekly bounty board rewards. Those aren't changing, but yeah, the rewards from the standard bounty board will roll over to the Premier board.
Awesome. Thank you. Got another question coming in from Cairo. Thanks for hopping on. It's getting a lot of reactions from the comments, so probably pretty good to jump into this one, which is, how are we going to reroute collectibles to make them more desirable? Right now they are diluted and there is no demand. So is the codex going to do that? So is it going to enhance that?
Indirectly, I would say, yeah. Wait, yeah, so diluted to hell. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut out diluted to hell, but yeah, I'll quote you next time.
Yeah. The codex doesn't directly do that, right? No. Yeah. And that wasn't really the goal of the codex, but it does indirectly do that, right? So like if the codex is increasing demand for slips, and slips naturally come from collectible Axies, then that should naturally increase demand for collectible Axies, right? But yeah, there's a ton of slips out there, right? So what Cairo's thinking is, well, there's a lot of slips out there, so that's not really gonna happen, right? But yeah, like I said, the codex is the goal of the codex was not really to rework collectibles or make them more desirable, right? In that sense, but yeah, that's gonna be a separate thing.
No, that's a good question. It's a good question. So thank you. Yeah, it seems like the main talking points, I think this has been really, really useful, is about like slips, what the reward system structure is. I thought it was really interesting that the price everyone thought was kind of very discounted. And I think this is the whole point, right, of doing this as like season 0. So we can identify all of this to improve it and listen to what the community is actually giving feedback on to essentially improve not just this one experience, but the entirety of Axie Core and how it all integrates into Axie IP.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. What's gonna happen to the secret classes mementos?
Was that a question in chat?
Yeah, from Martin.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah. I mean, we are still going to do secret class parts, right? Obviously, that's it's been years, right? But we still want to do secret class parts, and when secret class parts come out, obviously we'll need secret class mementos. Sorry, when I say secret class, it means Mech Dawn Dusk. I mean, yeah, it is real. It is real. It's new parts and new evolutions, right? Are things that we want to do. You know, like stage 3 parts, branching evolutions, Mech Dawn Dust parts, right? But it is. I don't want to make it seem like an easy thing to do. It's not. It's an insane amount of work, and it mostly relies on the the mixer. You know, and with the Tia's Legacy, it gets a little bit more complicated because the mixer is now 3D. You know, yeah. But we want to. But yeah, absolutely. That's still in the plan. That hasn't gone anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a good question here, Shade. So someone Chico asked like, I see these complaints, right? These concerns mostly from people in Southeast Asia, like Philippines, Vietnam, right? Southeast Asia is currently getting ravaged by typhoons, right? Consecutive typhoons, and they're saying like they cannot do the bounty board 7 days a week, right? Because what if electricity goes down, right? Power goes down, and everything goes down. So they're like saying, what if is there a possibility of the bounty board instead of being 7 days, maybe just 5 days, wherein you could select, which day you want to play or something like that.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit earlier, right? I like that idea. I think it's a cool idea, and it makes takes a little bit of pressure off of you, right, during the week, because if you want to get the leaderboard bonus, you really have to do it every day, you know, and you can't miss one quest. And so being, you know, and so making it so that it takes your top quests only, you know, your top X amount of quests could be a cool solution to that. Yeah.
So awesome. Do you think there will be a dragon class? Cairo has been pushing me in my DMs every day for a dragon class.
He used to DM me all the time about Dragon Class also, but he stopped. I don't know. Reptiles are kind of dragons, right? Maybe reptiles evolve into dragons. I don't. All right. To be honest, I don't think there will be new classes. Yeah, there will definitely not be new classes, but that doesn't mean there won't be dragons.
Wait, what? Now I'm confused.
I mean, there might be dragons in the lore. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Awesome. We are getting close to the hour. Is there any other burning questions we can jump into? Axes are riding dragons now. Okay. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, let's.
But
Yeah.
Martin wants to push to unlock new caps. At
Yeah.
least for now, yeah.
Yeah, I think basically Martin wants to solve the problem of wasted XP. I think, right? He basically, if you're level 60 right now, you can't, like, playing with your Axie doesn't earn any more AXP, right? And so I think the way that I would like to solve that is through an AXP share mechanic. And so you still can't play with the Axie, but it's leveling up a different Axie, right? I think that could be a really cool mechanic to sort of unblock people who are, who have a bunch of level 60 Axies and feel like it's a wasted time to play those. Because I don't want to raise it to level 70 or 120 or whatever, and then realize later that that wasn't the right thing to do when we do like stage 3 parts. Trevor asks about lore. That's a good question. Yeah. I didn't mention this, but part of the goal for the codex is to use it as a vehicle for lore, for like the main lore, actually. And now it doesn't exist in this season 0, and that's why kind of one of the reasons why we're calling it season 0 is because it doesn't have one of the core aspects of the codex, which is lore. But in season 1, you can expect to unlock lore as you unlock the codex. So as you like at different milestones on the codex, level 5, level 10, 15, 20, etc., you'll unlock different chapters of like a lore story. And the goal is for that codex to be integrated into different parts of the ecosystem. So you can imagine one day buying the codex and it's themed, with some story, right? And you unlock the story as you go, and then you have to do some Atia's Legacy quests. And as you play Atia's Legacy, you see some NPCs that are mentioned in the codex. And there's the boss in Atia's Legacy is talked about in the codex, and it's all integrated together, through Axie Core and stuff. And that'll be sort of like the way we release like the mainline storyline, as opposed to relying on games to release the story, right? Like we've tried that many times, right? In Classic, in like the adventure mode in Origins and stuff, and obviously an MMO is a great way to release lore, but it also adds a ton of pressure to the team when what's more important is them working on the actual game and the mechanics and the economy, right? And so using Axie Core in the codex is like a much more lightweight way, an easier way for us to sort of distribute some lore.
We see codex support governance, govern-related tasks.
Yeah, yeah. Like I want to have quests that are related to that, right? Like well, not the codex, but the bounty board, right? I think that's what he means. The bounty board is, a lot of people play it every week, so it's a good way to put tasks in front of people that we want them to look at or think about or do, right? Whether it's governance or anything, right? Like with remember when we had a Tia's Legacy registration, right? We made that a quest on the bounty board, and it was a good way to get everyone aware of that.
awesome. We're over time, so I appreciate everybody. We're wrapping it up slowly. It's because there's some good questions coming in again. So it's like, oh, right. But I know we've got hard cut off soon. So is there any more burning questions? Anyone can make a summary. Yeah. We'll be sure to make a summary for anyone that missed it. Just the highlights. All right, let's finish on two questions. And then we'll wrap it up. So Cairo's asking what we're doing to make Origins and Mystics desirable. The first question, and the second question would be about rewards, getting downloadable wallpapers and free tiers to attach into the codex as well. So we've got one about kind of assets and economy, and then one about reward systems kind of in the codex and potential other rewards we could look at for future seasons.
Yeah. Let's do the second question first. Because the first one is a little bit more complicated. So that's a good suggestion with the wallpapers thing. Actually, if you look at the rewards here, you'll see this reward here, and this is like something we threw in because we thought it would be cool, but it's a hangout background, and so your Axie hangouts, right? We haven't had new backgrounds for that in a long time, but this is a background that you can unlock, right? And I think that's a cool idea to have downloadable wallpapers or like PFPs or something, right, in the codex, and that could be something we experiment with in the future for sure. Yeah. Jack just posted a screenshot in chat of what that looks like. It's like a Tia hieroglyphic cave thing. Yeah. Maybe we can make that available to just download as like a wallpaper that people could use. That could be cool.
Yeah, I would use
Yeah,
that.
no. I'm thinking of just screen recording and then setting it so then you can have like a desktop screensaver. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. So for who asked the other question? Was it Cairo?
Yep.
I think it was Cairo. Yeah. Of course it was Cairo. I love Cairo. Cairo and I talk all the time in DMs. He always sends me ideas. I throw ideas off of him and stuff. But yeah, everybody knows who Cairo is, right? And obviously Cairo is a big collector, right? Cairo has the vault, the Ronin vault. He's got his guild. So he's got a lot of assets under his care. He loves Axie Infinity. And he's got mystic Axies, he's got collectible Axies, and so he's maybe one of our biggest collectors in the community. Period. Right. So it makes sense to care about it, and I'm also a big collector, right? Like if you know me, I've been here for years, right? Actually, this week is my 4-year anniversary at Sky Mavis. So yeah, it's been a long time, and I'm also a big fan of collectible Axies, and I've got 3 Mystic Axies. I have a bunch of other collectibles, a bunch of Origins, right? And I more than anybody care about the value of Mystic Axies because I bought my Rugged Sail Mystic Axie in July 2021 for 32 ETH. Okay, so I may have bought the top. So I absolutely care about the value. And I joke all the time that I came to work at Sky Mavis so that I can get the value of Mystics back up. And maybe that's why I'm still here 4 years later. But anyway, yeah, so that's a good question, right? What are we going to do to increase the value of Mystics and Origins? And Cairo specifically mentioned Mystics and Origins, but obviously there's other collectible Axies, right? They're less valuable, right? But they're there. They exist, right? We've got Mayo, Japanese, Summer, Christmas, Nightmare, right? More recently. But yeah, the problem right now is that there's a lot of collectible Axies, right? And for a long time, people were asking for more collectible Axies, and now nobody's asking for more collectible Axies, right? Because, well, what's the point, right? And when you release more, it just dilutes it. And the Nightmare collection was actually a really fun mechanic, and a lot of people really liked it, liked engaging, liked evolving, liked devolving to try to get Nightmare parts. But one problem that it introduced was that it kind of diluted the other collectibles, right? And that is super super obvious, right? And so what's the plan, right? And obviously a big part of the plan is the Tia's legacy. For years we were kind of like, for a really long time we were planning that the games would bring a lot of utility to collectibles, right? Whether it was classic, and then Origins came along, and we were hoping that the game would be the way to give utility, right? It's really hard to make collectible Axies feel fun and like feel fun and powerful without an actual game experience, right? And so for a long time we were just sort of like, okay, it'll be in Origins, right? We'll create some cool power and utility, and then obviously we know what happened there. That never happened. um and then it was in Homeland as well, right? And then now we have a Tia's Legacy. And so the like well so sorry fat going back before that, right? I Me and the Axie core team, we realized, okay, look, we can't just wait around, right? So that's why we created Axie Progression. It's why we created Fortune Slips. It's why we created all these systems on Axie core around it, AXP and things like that, right? To give Axies and collectible Axies specifically some core utility, right? Like Axies produce Fortune Slips. Fortune Slips can you be used to produce cocoa, and cocoa is a really cool consumable that allows you to level up other Axies, right? By producing that thing by owning collectible Axies, right? That whole system was designed because we realized collectible Axies were kind of just sitting around doing nothing, right? And we couldn't wait around for games to sort of build utility to these things, right? But and now here we are, right? We're at a crossroads, right? We have a new game. Other games are going into maintenance. Tia's Legacy is right around the corner, and Tia's Legacy is an MMO, a 3D MMO, right? With cool battle mechanics and things like that, and it actually presents way more opportunity than Homeland or Origins or Classic to bring utility to collectible Axies, right? And trust me, in every single meeting with the Tia's Legacy, Cruz is on this call right now, and he can confirm this. I'm always asking you about this, and like the last thing I brought up was like, hey, what if we had a like just a house in Gerudo Grove that only Mystic owners can go in? What if we had an Origins only area in a Tia's Legacy for the next playtest, right? Or something like that, right? Like really light utility, something to show that we're doing something, we're thinking about it, right? But anyway, uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cruz thinks that he agrees this is a hard problem to solve, right? And it was actually much harder in Origins though than it is for Atia's Legacy, I believe, right? Atia's Legacy is more of a social experiment. It's a social experience, right? And so it gives you a little bit more canvas to like do cool things with collectible Axies. And so with Atia's Legacy, as the new focus, I I I definitely expect a lot of collectible utility to be in Atia's Legacy, and not only that, right? We hope that Atia's Legacy fully integrates Axie Core to the fullest, right? XP levels, part evolutions, parts, breeding, things like that, right? And by doing so, you also naturally bring value to collectible Axies because all of that is sort of baked into Axie Core naturally, right? Yeah, and then outside of that, I mean, we have a bunch of side projects and experiments within Axie Infinity that we're working on that also targets collectible Axies. You know, um, I think we've teased like the Axie figurines. We teased that a little bit. I don't know how much we've revealed about that, but with but I would expect Mystic holders and things like that to get some stuff. Anytime we do cool things like that with like merch or whatever.
For me, yeah, I think at the end of the day, right? I think we can all agree, right, that we need to get better in leveraging the cuteness of the Axie IP, right? I was wearing an Axie shirt 2 days ago in my Vietnamese class, and my Vietnamese teacher, was like, "That's a really cool shirt. Where can I buy that?" And she doesn't even know Axie, so rest assured that that we're working on things. We need to be better. We need to, you know, put Axie out into the world, right? Everybody should know Axie, and we're working on that. It all starts from there, right? If the IP goes out, everybody knows what is Axie, then the collectibles will have their glory.
Yeah, we didn't mention land. Cairo mentioned land. We didn't really talk about land, but yeah, I have some plans for land. I would love um, Axie Core and Applet Axie to sort of adopt land, and bring some cool stuff to land. And I think land has really cool implications for like guilds later on as well. But these are things that we're working on right now. Yeah, yeah. Trevor says, "I hate land. Feels like a chore for AXS." Yeah, I don't like that either. Right? Homeland has become a clicker game. It's been solved. Right? It's been figured out. There's nothing more to it. It's just you log on, you click some stuff, and you earn AXS. And I think there's some potential and room to improve that. And I think it should. Right? Like we like everyone knows that land like Atia's Legacy will one day have some kind of land gameplay, right? And that's like the vision for land, right? Before that, it was so. If you rewind, sorry, I know we're way over time, but land had a really cool vision, right? And then we scrapped that for Homeland, and then Homeland had a vision, and then here we are scrapping it again, right? Atia's Legacy, hopefully, is the end of that cycle, right? But in the meantime, I think there are some cool things that Axie Core can do with land, before to buy time and before Atia's Legacy gets there. Cool. Yeah, Mud. I feel you, man. Yeah, me and Mud Amrula. Yeah, everyone knows him, right? He's like the land baron. We met up in Vietnam. We talked about land a little bit.
Good title. Land Baron.
He really is. Yeah.
Amrula is the top one Axie score, right? He has the top Axie score.
Number one. Yeah, I think it's
Number one,
because
right?
of all the like Genesis plots. I think he owns.
Shout out
That gives a lot of
Amrula.
Axie score. Yeah, but Listen. I think a lot about land. I think an insane amount about land, and that might be surprising, but it's because I feel like land has been screwed so many times, right? Obviously, people with land have gotten access rewards for a very long time, but in terms of like playability, and excitement for land, it has gotten screwed, and I think that should change. I think it needs to change. Yeah, basically we have this really cool ecosystem, in Axie Core, right, with all these cool mechanics, right? But land is just land, right? And I want to bring land under the wings of Axie Core and integrate it directly into it.
That's
What does that mean?
for the next episode, right?
Yeah, that maybe that could be. What does that mean for Homeland? I don't know yet. Yeah.
But yeah, I think what I'm really happy about now. So now I have Shade. I mean, the Axie team now, it's a Cruise, Shade, right? We are all moving in the same direction. So we always talk, right? There are no like I think it's Axie Core above all, right? So we want like Atia's legacy. Cruz is joining the meetings and he respects that, Axie Core should be at the top, right? Should be respected. And yeah, because I think it's criminal, right? So that's why we do this like AMAs, right? Like we for the first playtest, we had the Discord stages, right? Because we want to go back to the community, we want to go back to our roots, and it's actually criminal, like what happened to the land working group, right? Like the community had a lot of passion, had a lot of ideas that weren't that the team wasn't able to utilize, and we're changing it now. We need to be better. So, and we're doing that now. All right, I think we can wrap it up, Jase. Next
Yeah,
up is
sounds good.
Cruz. Atia's
Cruz
legacy.
is next.
Anyway, next.
Yeah,
Throw it straight into it.
We'll bring Cruz on next, for the next episode of this, and you guys can grill him about Atia's legacy.
Trial by fire. No, I think it's been really, like, obviously I'm biased, right? But I think it's been really, really useful, and hopefully the community have found that as well. And like all the questions, it's been very back and forth. It's very live. You're getting like honest, transparent takes from the team. We don't have all the answers, but we actually do want to build this with you. So really looking forward to the Codex next week. We'll line up the next one with Cruz. So I know you're in the chat, so stand by to jump on and go deep into Atia's legacy. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. We'll provide a text summary for the ones who missed it, but thank you for coming alive. You've been here for an hour, over almost 90 minutes, about 100 of you. So much love, and we'll get some clips coming out of it as well. So yeah, have a fantastic rest of the day, everyone, and thank you for coming.
Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.